Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It is I, Arif Khan. We are back with some iSlam podcasting preview for week number 10. So, just waiting for our guests to join. In the meantime, let me just say hello to our usual crew. I got Ahmed Ibrahim. What to rub it in? The heck? You know how you join a conversation right in the middle of something and it's just very awkward. Get out of here. Who is it? All Star Driving School, Woodbridge. Assalamu alaikum, Riz. Hope all is well. What else we got here? Come on, we got 5 people. There's got to be more people chatting here. Yes, of course, my man, Rexdale Royalty. Speaking of goalies, let's invite our first guest in, our goalie resident podcast goalie, if you will, Zaid Maju. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How's everyone doing?
Good. And the other guest we have as well, our usual panelist, Mr. Omar Asawi. Assalamu alaikum, Omar.
Like Islam, lo-fi again, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, Omar is coming to us from the space station, International Space Station,
No, I'm in the Egyptian pyramids.
on a potato camera.
There you go.
All right, gentlemen. Yeah, so let's get started here. We got quite a few things to take care of. All right, let's first go with what's this? Zia Nakunda, Fall iSlam graphic looking good.
Yeah, of course he's going to say that he's on the cover of it for next season. So.
All right, Rob Ford.
Oh my God, Rob Ford.
Is this the new bench squad? I miss bench squad. Where is he?
That's a good question. We never found out his identity.
Well, we had some leads, but anyways, the masked bandit didn't want to reveal himself.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of bandits, look at this mugshot here, Fahad Panchawaya.
Hey
Fahad,
man,
we need a better picture of you.
According to an unnamed source, he was not very cooperative when he was getting his picture taken, and so I mean that's what happens. I mean not that it's a bad picture, but I mean there's only so much Photoshop I can do, guys.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. I'll step in and say it. I was there. I was watching him. He just wanted to mean mug the cameraman. So I guess that's what you get.
Well, he's been hiding all season, but it's great to see him finally step out. So this is actually Player of the Week from 2 weeks ago. We didn't get a chance to post it, so it was only fair that we post it. So congratulations, Fahad, for that goal and assist, which led to your team's win. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, and I mean he's really stepped up even last week. I mean he's
Mhm.
he's definitely. I think I would attribute it a lot to basically maybe being a little bit out of shape or out of game shape. I would rather say,
Mhm.
he did have a pretty significant injury to his ACL, and so coming
Yeah.
back from that, must have been pretty challenging. I think he played softball, which according to Arv is not really a sport. So,
Why, right? Why?
yeah, he probably didn't get to work his legs in as much. So it does seem like he's finding his legs. His hands are kind of where they need to be,
Mhm.
and even in the goal that he scored in this particular to win the Player of the Week, it was a situation where the ball was kind of loose in front of Ali Khwaja,
Yeah.
and Fahad was in the right spot, and he managed to just kind of corral it around him and put it in the net, right? So kudos to him, and we're definitely like, I mean, I remember playing against him in the summer season, maybe when he was at the peak of his form, and he was a force to be reckoned with. So I'm really hoping that he gets back there again.
Yeah, and he scored last week as well, a big goal as well. So I think he put a lot of pressure on himself earlier on in the season, where he was drafted pretty high and wasn't performing. But mashallah, he's really come into his own, and
I wonder what that feels like.
Well, to be
We'll get to
honest,
that. We'll get to that in a bit. We'll look at some scores and stuff. But let's continue on here. So
to be
last
honest,
week,
he's been playing really well, and just the entire team's been playing better. So I think that just kind of falls right into place. But yeah, let's go. Let's keep moving on.
yeah. So this past week, the player of the week was Muhammad Ali Kasentini with 2 goals and an assist. Once again, when this brother shows up, he just completely turns the dynamic of his team around. He's wearing the wrong jersey in this picture, or is he wearing the right? No, he's on
No,
Haya this year, right?
Yeah, he's on
Yeah.
Haya, and I had the pleasure of taking 3 slappers from 2 feet away from him. So that was fun.
They hurt, right? I mean, I took one. I took one when I played. I'm telling you, man. I have never taken a shot and been sore for more than a week. And like I was mentioning him at the rink on Friday. I was like, I can still feel where I blocked the shot. And then he said, next time, don't block it. So, I mean, I guess I got a taste of my own medicine a little bit. But no, he's such a smart and high hockey IQ player. Like I remember at the beginning of the season, who was it? I think it was Mustafa Alam. He was like, it's a treat being able to have Akib and Mohammed
Mhm.
as your centerman. He was like, I don't even have to think twice, before I want to jump into the play. He's like, I don't even need to look back. I just know that
Yeah.
one of them will be there. So it just speaks to, just how aware he is on the floor. And also like how motivating he is. Like you can always hear him, talking up his players, motivating them,
Mhm.
pushing them. He's very vocal on the floor. So, I think Haya is very fortunate to have them. And I think he's going to
Yeah.
be integral to their playoff success.
And Daud was telling me that apparently Mohammed he does like marathons and triathlon, like some crazy stuff. So in terms of fitness, he's probably up there as one of the best in the league.
Wow.
So yeah,
Mashallah.
it's good to see some of the newer brothers doing so well.
Some
Speaking
of
of
the
new brothers,
veterans.
veterans, yeah, grumpy old men. Speaking of new brothers, although this brother is only a couple of seasons new to Iceland, but mashallah, you can already see him doing some amazing work.
He even has the helmet to match his uniform. It's
I
crazy.
know.
So then we're like extremely pleased that our first I would say longer fundraising initiative in the league, at least
Hmm.
in my time in the league in the hangar, was alhamdulillah a great success. We had started out with the intention of raising $2,500 specifically for the flood relief, and making sure that the individuals in Pakistan had the resources that they need to kind of come out ahead a little bit. And we're really really happy. We started the night, I think last podcast rather, RF, we were about $1,000 down, and we ended up raising over $3,000 in
Yeah.
total now in this campaign. So jazakallah khair to all the brothers that stepped up, and even if there's people outside of the league that found the launch good or was sent the launch good and they supported as well, I'm sure that the money will go a long way in making sure that everybody's taken care of, inshallah.
Yeah, I believe the goal was to raise 2,500, and we raised, mashallah, 3,255. So really, really fantastic job. And again, remember, just because we donated here doesn't mean it's over. You can still go and donate more to other organizations. It's a very important cause. So yeah, really good.
Yeah. The intention is for us as a league to support a variety of initiatives throughout our season. So I think that we're kind of at the stage where maybe every season we'll pick one initiative and work our way
Mhm.
towards the goal till the end.
Yeah, and this is something Islam has been doing since its inception, right? In the past, I believe it might have been different, where at the end of the season we would donate all the excess funds to a certain charity. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was what we used to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So every season there is a portion that is donated to a charity of the winning GM's choice.
Hmm.
I believe the last one was done to Nisa Homes, and so the GMs will choose, and then the league will sort of make the donation on their behalf.
Yeah. Sakib, stop trying to strip our panelists. We don't need that kind of behavior here.
I fully support this jersey, Zaid.
All I gotta say is my Subway jersey hasn't been washed this season, and it's not gonna get washed anytime soon. So I had to put on something that was not gonna make me bring
Is that how
tears to
you
my
get?
eyes.
Is that how you get guys to not crash your crease?
Gotta
So,
keep them out
but
one way or another.
so speaking of bringing tears to our eyes, we're gonna have to shed a tear for Idris Dean here because unfortunately, I believe the brother got injured last game, and as a result, he's had to drop out. He is a GM for your team, Omar. So I guess he's out, and Ali Wadi is back in.
Yeah, Idris actually, to my knowledge, sustained two separate injuries on Friday.
Ooh.
Wow.
One was a high stick that cut him open,
Yeah.
and which required stitches.
Always
And
bad.
the second was a lower body injury. And
Mhm.
so, inshallah, we're wishing him a speedy recovery. I'm hoping that he can, patch himself back up and be ready for the winter season. But in the meantime, Idris, we wish you well. We're definitely going to miss the high intensity offense and the speed on forward, but we're definitely fortunate that we were able to replace him with a high caliber player like Ali Wadi.
So what does this do to a team that's been reliant and gelled with Idris the whole season, and now you have Ali coming in, different position, different style of game. How does he fit into the team chemistry?
I mean, I feel like Ali Wadi is a very versatile player. So, like, I mean, Ali Wadi can play wing, he can play center, he can play defense. I mean, he's more or less known for playing defense. But I'm not sure if that's where he even plays in Salam Cup. Does he play forward or defense in Salam Cup? I think he plays forward.
I think he's a utility player, man. He just goes whichever
Yeah,
role needs him.
yeah, and so one of
And
the
he's played
things that Ali
forward in the
Wadi does,
past, yeah.
yeah, one thing that Ali Wadi does really well is he slows the game down a lot, right? Whereas Idris will pick up the pace. I think Ali Wadi does the opposite, and sometimes that's what you need. You need someone just to kind of calm it down, allow the forwards and the rest of the players to kind of move their feet. And Ali Wadi, he can shoot the ball. He has great vision. So I told him, I said, I'm looking forward to some one time passes for myself. But no, so I mean, I think that's the asset that he brings, right? Is that he'll slow the play down and maybe give us better looks where we might have been rushing in the past.
He's definitely.
Zaid, you're already on the podcast. Why are you typing messages at the same time? You can just say it.
Well,
Here, say it.
Hey, people got to talk. People need their voice. I'm just trying to get everything going. No, he's the general on the floor as it is, right? So he attracts people to him. That's going to open up Omar's shot. Omar's going to, if he holds on to it for 2 seconds, Ali Wadi's going to get open. So there's this double threat now. And with Abdullah even being happier that Ali Wadi's on his team again, that there's going to be an interesting dynamic. I think Taqwa will have moving forward. It's, again, with such a significant change, it can make or break a team. But Ali and his experience and the teacher, I think this is not like teaching squad or whatever the heck you want to call them, but it's going to be. I think it's a huge positive. He's going to really shake up that division.
How is that going to affect Adam Ahmed? His style of play, where he likes to just rush with the ball. Now you got 3 rushing defensemen between Omar, Ali, and Adam. Like, are you all going to contend for the ball?
I don't think so. I think, from what I've never been on Ali Wadi's team, even in pickup, but I think that he's he's a very versatile player, and that he'll kind of adjust to whatever his defensive partner is doing, right? So
yeah,
one of the things with Ali Wadi is that he doesn't have to rush like Adam rushes, or like maybe I would rush. He doesn't have to go deep into the zone to be effective, right? He can be just as effective from the top of the circle, whether it's his shot or finding the open man. So I do think that we'll have to be a little bit cognizant. I mean, we also have Azim, who is a defenseman as well, or who can play defense, right? So I mean, it is very possible that Ali Wadi will play forward.
And you got Zoo.
Well, Zuhair is our reliable stay-at-home dude, right? So one of the things with Zuhair is that he can play with anyone.
Yeah, so I wish I could give you more insight on how it feels like to play with Ali Wadi. However, I only have 2-game experience with him before I got traded. But if you want to know how Ali Wadi is, all you have to do is ask his protege, Mr. Hanan Ghafoor.
Well, I mean, the rumors are that Hanan is trying to find a GM vacancy so that he can enter the league to be on Ali Wadi's team. So if somebody
could you imagine Hanan as a GM?
I cannot, but I mean, I'm sure it'd be a very interesting experience.
80% of the stats will never be made up. 20% of the time.
There you go.
Well, and the thing is, if you were talking about people fighting for the ball almost on Taqwa, it's not going to happen. I think as much as egos are always involved in the game, I think Ali always brings that level-headedness, and even that'll help kind of calm down Adam. But Adam really only rushes when he needs to, and he feels that intensity, that pressure. I think when you have such level-headed players, the ego just goes out the window, and it's all about the team process. So yeah, you're going to get those 1 or 2 rushes, but you're also going to see people covering for them and understanding that it's a team game and not just a one-man show.
Right. No, good point. Good point. So our next topic is playoff implications. As you can see, hopefully from the slide, that the Mecca division, it's a very, very tight race. There's a very strong possibility that all 4 teams at the end of the week could end up having the same amount of points, in which case there would all be tiebreakers. Whereas the Medina looks like Ikhlas has obviously run away with it with 16 points. Yakin has booked their ticket into the playoffs. Taqwa and Ihsan are going to fight it out this week.
Now, there is still some uncertainty Omar, can you clarify exactly what the playoff, uh, the process is? People are still kind of concerned: is the last team eliminated? Is the last team making it? So there's been rumblings.
So, unfortunately, I cannot offer clarity on that at this moment. We were thrown a bit of a curveball this afternoon. As to what that curveball is, I can't speak to it just yet. But there will be a communication to your GMs. I would say probably either right during or right after the podcast. So a message will be filtered down to the teams. But I just want to make sure that it's the correct message, and I don't want to say something that we have to retract later on.
Mhm. So in other words, the message to the teams will be: don't mail it in. Play as if your life depends on it, just in case.
Yeah, don't
Well,
be
no,
last spot.
So what I will say is that if we're in a scenario where all teams make the playoffs, it is highly disadvantageous to be the fourth seed. Like
Sure.
it is almost, I would say, the deck is really stacked against you. It's an uphill climb, whatever you want to call it. It's you
Mhm.
have your work cut out for you. It's not going to be a fun journey. But so I would definitely advise all teams to do their best to avoid being the last seed.
Right. So why don't we go through this a little bit? Rida at 8 points. I know we're going to look at the game previews, but real quick, what does, I guess, Subber have to do to try to catch Rida? And I can say that because they're so close between first and fourth.
So what's interesting is that their goal differential is identical, right? Subber and Rida. So just for anybody who's watching, the tiebreaker process is is wins. That's the first
Yeah.
tiebreaker, and then head to head, and then goal differential. And then
Mm.
after goal differential, I actually don't know what is the next tiebreaker if there is one. Okay, but what's interesting is they have the same amount of wins. Okay, I don't know what their head to head is. Do you know? Did Rida beat them last time?
I believe we won our first game. So I believe Saber won the first game against Rida.
Okay, so if Subber um, ties or wins, they would basically be in.
Well, you know what?
Sorry, no,
Maybe
sorry,
it'll
they have to win. They have to win. They have to win,
right.
and then it doesn't really matter about the goal differential.
Okay, I tell you what. Why don't we move to the slides? I think if we tackle each game one by one, it might be easier to figure out what the implications are.
Sure.
So the first game of the night will be Ikhlas versus Yakin.
Yeah, there's no
And
implications
yeah.
there. It's just training for maybe an eventual playoff matchup.
Mm.
But it
Ikhlas,
would be nice to see if Yakin is capable of slaying the giant, if you will.
well, this division has
here's
to go through Ikhlas, right?
here's something the undercover agent in me figured out. There are players on a class that are a little bit worried about Yakin. They're a little bit worried about facing Yakin. So this is their first, I guess, like big time matchup just before the playoffs to get their own affairs in order. And are they going to come out swinging, or are they just going to cower and let it be known that Yakin can walk over them, or could it go the other way, right? So it's really up in the air. And
Mm-hmm.
although Ikhlas has won their last couple of games, they haven't looked like the same team of late, right? Even their last game was a struggle. They had, I think, what was it, 6 minutes of power play in the first period, and they couldn't even muster us anything.
Yeah.
A few shots
Yeah.
here and there, but and Yakin, since they're significantly shorthanded game against Subber, they've really let it be known that doesn't matter who we're going to face, we're going to play hard,
Yeah.
and you watch out for every single player on our team. So
They're a feisty bunch.
They are definitely a feisty bunch. So it's going to be, I think it's going to really dictate who might come out of that division.
I think if anything, this is more about, I want to say, maybe even padding the stats a little bit for some of the players on the class, because there's some leading scorers and leading point getters. Some of those trophies still up for grabs. So maybe this becomes more of an individual stat based game, more so than what the standings will look like.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw caution to the wind of anybody who thinks they can pad their stat against Ali Khwaja. So I mean, there's that too, right? I mean, like you can't walk into that game and think, okay, well, I'm just gonna. I don't think it's possible. I mean, I mustered 2 assists on Ali Khwaja, but everything I shot was just whatever. I'm not gonna spend the podcast on that. But there. I mean, I think I don't know if we're gonna talk about this RF at all, or if we're saving this
Mhm.
for another podcast. But I think Mohib Shah has basically run away with the most points. I think he's at 23, and I don't think anybody's relatively close to him at that point.
He's actually quite motivated to break the all-time record, which I think in the hangar is about 26. I think
It's 26
Hamza
by
Chaudhry.
Hamza Chaudhry. Yeah.
But I think the all-time Islam record is closer to 30, 31, 32 by Sajid Ayubi, right? So he has a chance of getting pretty close to that. I mean, he's put up
Mhm.
5, 6, 7 points per game in some cases, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Again, Arif, did you go to the Hannan School of points per game calculation? He's averaging 2.56 points a game, as per our stats.
Yeah, that's average, but he's gotten 5 points in one game, 7 in another game. So you don't have to have an average. You can just score X amount of points in one game and still
Yeah,
make
but
it.
again, we're talking about Ali Khawaja. I don't think he's going to even come to close to that. But well, let's see.
Well, Mr. Shah, there's your challenge. All right. Next game will be Taqwa versus Ihsan, and this probably has one of the biggest playoff implications. Obviously, Taqwa is what you're leading by just a point, or are we tied? I
No.
forget.
So
They're
we're
tied.
We're tied.
tied exactly. So
tied.
basically, these are the two scenarios. Is Taqwa has to win the game to get into the playoffs. Ihsan can tie or win to get into the playoffs because
Really?
Ihsan has
Okay.
a better goal differential.
But head to head, Taqwa
Oh
is
yes,
up.
Taqwa has the
Yeah.
win. So
Yeah.
yes, so Ihsan basically has to win. A tie will do it as well for us.
Yes, exactly. You're trying to give us a false, lull us into
Yeah,
a
no,
false
no,
sense of
a tie
security.
will get you in. A tie
Come
will get you
on.
in, guys. You guys, listen. Let's just call it 0-0, and everybody will mosey on their way.
No, it'll be good. I mean, you guys will have your new GM in. Again, it's Ali Wadi. He'll literally hit the ground running. But for us, we've been gelling pretty well. We're undefeated in the last 5 or 6? Yeah, 5.
5.
Yeah. So, and we almost came close to slaying the Green Dragon last week, right? So we're on a roll too. But again, all that doesn't matter. It just comes down to those 2 periods on Friday and see what happens.
Yeah, what I would say is basically the 9, 10, 11 games are going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
So it's going to start with 9 p.m. I hope that everybody can keep a level head and keep it cool, and have a good game.
Yeah, and if you see me streaking down that left wing, try not to hip check me or something crazy. I have to go to
No,
work.
I won't do a hip. It'll just be shoulder.
What's Habibi? Trust the process. Listen, this is not what Taqwa from a couple of years ago.
I know. He was saying trust the
Adil
process when his
Patel.
team was winless after literally the whole
9
season.
games.
So
Yeah. But you know what? They've bounced back quite well, right? Just the last 5 games, they've had a few games they had to muster through and really play hard and get some ties. But Yusuf Kapoor's found his groove. He does need a lot of shots to kind of keep himself in, and I don't blame him because it gets boring when you're only facing a couple of shots here and there. You kind of lose your groove. But but Ihsan is finding their rhythm. And like I said before, although Ali Wadi is solid player, nothing to disrespect on him, but fitting in, gelling in always takes a period or two or even a couple of games for some players. So we'll see how the team adapts to him and how he can adapt to the team to make them better.
Oh, that's true.
Actually it did take us some time to gel as a team. I mean, Taqwa, look, I think we were being called a train wreck at the beginning of the season, right? And now,
yeah.
I think that teams have sort of seen how we put everything together, and it's definitely commanded a little bit of respect. So,
this also shows you how difficult it is to climb out of the basement. Like Ihsan, the first 4 games we pretty much lost, right? And then even though we're in a 10-game season, we're undefeated in the last 5, yet we're still last in our division. That's just how difficult it is to dig out of that grave.
Yeah, a lot of veterans were saying that this season was a bit of an anomaly, right? Because I don't think that one division has been this dominant over the other division. I think that the other division only won 1 game in total against our division, and so I think that contributed a little bit. Usually, you can kind of squeeze some points out,
Yeah.
sort of that way, and it balances things out. But in this instance, I think there's one division just kind of steamroll the other.
No, totally right. In fact, the lowest seeded team in the Medina division would be technically first overall in the Mecca division. That's how big of a gap it is.
Yeah.
After
So
tiebreakers
we have
and
some
stuff.
actually exciting proposals for up the playoff format for next season.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will be largely eliminated. This type of stuff. So I can't talk
Okay,
too
cool.
much about it until the season's over. But I'm very excited. Like this is uh, a possibly a big departure from what we're used to. So we're still discussing it, but it's exciting stuff.
Sounds good. All right. So the third game of the night is Haya versus Iman in the Mecca division. Again, exactly the same record, 3-5-1, goals for 19-18. Iman has a few more goals ahead, but other than that, they're pretty much quite even, I would say.
So again, I think that this is a situation where if one of these teams loses and Sabra wins, then one of these teams will be last.
Yeah,
What do you
and and well, they will, right? If Sabr wins, Sabr goes up to 8 points, and then we get Iman or Haya dropping, so they'll be in that disadvantageous position. So it again has a huge playoff implication. So it's just what team can grind it out. We've seen Haya constantly grind out their wins. They are struggling to score right now, so that's going to be a big factor. Um, but and Iman has been that old age saying the boys are all right. The young kids are finding their legs. They're finding ways to just get something on net, just throw something out there, get some rebounds. They're really starting to work hard. And I have to give a shout out to the senior Mr. Coker. He scored a beauty of a breakaway, or we can call it a breakaway goal, where he had a D-man just draped right over him last week, and he still managed to score that goal. So the veteran presence is helping, but the young kids are kind of keeping the games going.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's been a comment here about the second, both teams being second. Technically, Iman would be third, um,
Yeah.
in terms of the tiebreakers. So, um, I
And the goal differential.
well, but the first tiebreaker is well, there's wins and then head to head, right? So head to
Yeah,
head, Haya has the advantage there.
yeah,
So even in the event of a tie, Haya would have the advantage. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that this is a must win for both of these teams, which is
hmm
again probably set to be a very entertaining game as well. So uh, uh, depending on what
I,
happens
I
in this game.
I got my money on Haya. I think they're streaking well. So is Iman, but if Haya has, they've struggled because they've missed a lot of their key players throughout the season, right? But if they have their GMs and their top players there, I think they are the team to beat in this game.
I
I
mean,
have
on paper, yes. But I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get to the stats later on, but like Omar Hussein's been on a tear, right? Like he's just been really like he's been unstoppable, right? So like if
Hmm.
he, goes this Super Saiyan, mode and he takes over the game, then it could spell trouble for Haya as well.
True. Okay, let's get to the next game, and the final game of the night will be Sabr versus Rida. Again, it's pretty close here, but I believe who is it?
No, Sabr needs to win.
Rida is
Sabr
one.
needs,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
So Sabr needs to win, otherwise they will lock in that fourth spot, regardless of like if they lose, they are automatically last.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a relatively big mountain to climb for Suber. Just being their goalie for the last few weeks, we have struggled. We realize it too. There's just a few things we need to work on, and it hasn't helped that we've been missing our GMs either. So just trying to stay in games. There's just been definite challenges, right, from the back to the front to the back, all the way through. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we also have the senior, I guess, the leadership to calm ourselves down and to be able to get back on track. So we're really going to be relying heavily on our GMs and understanding that to calm the guys down. Let's get back on track. Let's get our pace going, and we just need to find that W. We have found it before against Rida, but I think it's just going to be neutralizing Asif Bika, who has a wicked release. So just making sure we don't let him shoot or get a clear shot off, and just covering up their second and third tertiary scoring to make sure that we make it challenging for them.
Okay, so I need to say something about Suber because I watched their games 2 weeks in a row, and one personnel decision that is just absolutely maddening is why is Sakib Kokar playing defense? Like that is just, I mean, anybody watching can tell he's not a defenseman. He has a great shot. Okay, he's not losing you guys games, but he's definitely not helping you win any either. Like he is I would say probably top 5 in faceoffs in our league. The ability to take them, I mean.
Yeah.
And what I saw with Suber is that you guys are losing a lot of faceoffs, especially in the offensive zone. What I would do is I would put Saka back up if you're really desperate for a defenseman. Mobin is a very serviceable defenseman if he can keep both hands on his stick. And he has great foot speed, and he actually played defense last season in the summer with me. He was my D partner, and he was very, very serviceable. So I do think you guys need to give a hard look at your personnel decisions and where you guys are putting people, and make sure you're putting them to their strengths. Because we just talked about a team like Haya, who has like a great 1-2 punch when it comes to their centermen. And so I do think that you guys want to consider putting Saka back as a forward and making some other adjustments. And also the kids, if you guys are listening, Zia, Hood, Daoud, like you guys need to move your feet, man. Like I know Hood was away last week because he was sick, but like you guys, there needs to be some body contact there, guys. You guys got to get in there, get into the corners. You have more than capable of beating any player to the ball. But I just seen a lot of hesitation, like whether it's getting a bump or whatever it is. Like this is for all the marbles, boys. You got to do it.
And you know what? I'm gonna throw out a little shot on the side here. Suber's GM has to show up. Where's Soligar? I don't have my little song to press here today, but like just picture it in your head or think of it in your head. Where's Soligar? You're the GM. They rely on you. You haven't showed up. Like he has to show up. Obviously, Arcel, I think he was missing last game. But if your top players don't show up, what are you going to do? Then you have no option but to put Sakib on the blue line.
To be fair, Soda, I don't think I do that justice.
Okay, just
but
stick your leg up.
But he's really dealing with some sickness with him and his family as well. So that can't blame him for that at all. But
I didn't know that, so I apologize for that. But yeah, if you didn't. Where is he?
Yeah. But you're right. Like we've needed. Like yes, we do lose a lot of faceoffs in that regards, and having Sakib as defense puts us at a disadvantage, but he is a very good D-man too, in terms of he has the ability, he covers any player like the best of them. He can cover backwards and forwards. Now, he also provides that extra presence on the back end to be able to break it out of the zone. And we've struggled at times to actually break it out, right? And you make a very fair point, Omar, is looking at the personnel decisions and making the best overall decision for the team. That's something that I think Suber does need to consider if they already haven't. But but having Sakib on the back end, I don't think it may be using him inappropriately, but it does also help it also does help Suber to get it out.
But to be fair, Maju, like if that was the case, you're the last team out of 8. Right? So whatever you're doing is not working. So switch it up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right.
All right. I think we wanted to do this real quick as well. Where is it? So this is just a quick look at the scoring sheet. I don't know if it's too small, if you guys can see it or not. But here we can see Mohib Shah is really running away with this. He has 14 goals, mashallah, and 9 assists. So that's like 23 points. The next closest person is 10 points behind him, which is Omar Hussein. And Mr. Asawi is in there too, top 5, number 4.
Am
Did
I?
you score? Yeah, you did get one goal, right? Yeah.
I did get a goal. I was made sure I got one. But my secret this season has been not checking the stats. So I've been very ignorant and oblivious as to the stat page. I have not. Hand to God, I have not opened up the Islam stats once.
I mean, like
So
you right here, number four.
there you go. So I mean, I was very nervous about where I was picked. In the season, there's a lot of pressure. But I just go in, put my hard hat on, do my
Mhm.
job, and then go home. So,
And
I've
I
just
can confidently say that he didn't score the goal on me because it was the Oscar-winning performance Zuhair Fancy who actually tipped and redirected that shot.
there you go. All right. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a point of debate for me, but whatever. It's all good. Um, alhamdulillah, you just go in, play your game, and enjoy your
Yeah.
time. And at this age, honestly, I don't think that I don't mean any offense to people that are older than me, but like you just go and you have fun, right? It's like I've already won all the trophies that I need to win. It's not a big deal, guys.
Sorry. So Muhib Shah also points per game. He's like 2.56, so 2.5 points per game, which is really high. And
No, he's
it's
a great player.
Manja.
He
So
actually,
yeah.
RF in YCBHL on the Wednesday night, he was the
Mhm.
MVP. Yeah, he won
Nice.
MVP of that. So he's definitely not just skilled in Islam. I know some people say there's players that are just Islam good. So he's
Yeah,
definitely up there in terms of his ability.
He definitely has a
absolutely.
chip on his shoulder, trying to make sure that everyone knows he's better than his brother. So I think that's really driving him.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
definitely has it in stats, right?
yes, there you go.
All right. So Asif Bika is also there. So let's do the away with that and go to the next slide, which is this is the last slide, Omar. So this is talking about next season. Is there any information or news you want to share about this?
So registration has just been opened, guys. We are expecting an influx of players to
Mhm.
register. There were a lot of guys who didn't make the cut this year, even though we had bigger roster sizes. So there were a lot of guys that waited till the last minute, and then they ended up on the waiting list or in a situation where we just couldn't accommodate them at all. So if you're interested in playing, I would definitely highly advise that you go ahead and try to get your registration in. Um, and inshallah, we're looking forward to having a good season. There are some minor changes coming to next season, but we'll announce those after. This season starts, I believe, the second week of January,
Mhm.
and this season will also be interrupted by Ramadan. So we will announce how all that will work once
Sure.
that season gets started. But just there will be so we don't play during Ramadan, obviously, guys. So that will be a break for us. And then as Ramadan gets a little bit earlier, like last season was kind of weird because I think
Yeah.
we played was it one game or two games, and then the playoffs.
And then there was also a bunch of, COVID-related stoppages and stuff. It just became a
Yeah,
6-month season, right?
yeah, it was a long season. So this season, I don't have it in front of me the schedule, but we're probably looking at like a 4 to 5 week break if we include Eid, and then jumping back into it. But this break will be more even in terms of how it's broken up into the season. So I
Mhm.
anticipate us probably getting through like 6 games or so before we have to break, and then having four when we get back, including like the trade deadline and drop deadline and all that stuff,
Any
and then playoffs.
spicy GM combos?
I only have rumors at this point, so I don't want to put anything out into the universe until it's confirmed. But we are anticipating and hoping that we have some of our top tier guys, interested in rejoining.
Mhm.
And one thing I just need to remind at least my goalie brethren, is make sure you email and make sure that there's a spot available before you go ahead and decide to send your money. So just please get right on top of that. The goalie spots go very quickly.
Yes, so definitely email hockey@islam.ca. And usually within a day or two, I'm the one that will sort of confirm everyone. But alhamdulillah, we are very happy with our goalie crop this season. And so definitely send that email, and then we'll proceed from there.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Just a quick overview again of the schedule for this week. Here are your 4 games. we already talked about it. So pretty much all of them, they have some kind of sideline story. So if you want to come early, stick around, hang out, shoot the, with everyone else.
Oh, sorry.
You're
One other
welcome
thing.
to. Yeah.
There will be a full jersey redesign for next season.
Nice.
So so that's coming as well. Especially, I'm really excited about a couple of, like, especially purple. We're going Raptors theme, so we're super excited. I think Tuck was also going to get a bit of an OVO touch, so we'll see how it goes.
But I didn't get a chance to collect all the jerseys from this generation.
Well, don't worry, we'll these are the reverse retro Iceland jerseys.
All right. Well, let's not spoil people too much with what's
Let's
coming.
just make sure. Let's just make sure some of the colors are more. They stand out more, so people don't have to flip them around. But inshallah, that'll be good. Oh, and by the way, Badger, I'm not going to come early enough that you can grab my equipment, so please make sure you don't forget yours.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen. With that, we'll leave it at that, and inshallah, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and hoping for some fireworks for the last game of the season.
Looking forward to it, boys.
Looking forward to it. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.